Welcome back to the scene to another episode of Memoria Freeze Y3, where holy shitster sisters, do I have a lot to talk about. And I mean a lot to talk about. So, before I talk about anything, really, before I talk about Season 3, Episode 2, before I talk about, uh, 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 before I talk about, how I did a lot of other things besides watch that, let me tell you that my day was great, because I spent 15 hours playing Minecraft and wasted my life over it. But I had fun. We had Christmas in Minecraft, in October. It makes no sense, but just know that we had fun, and then, yeah, just stuff, man. But anyway, I did more than just watch episode 2 of Danmachi 3. I started watching BNA. I started watching Sword Oratoria, too. Isn't that insane? I not only watched episode 2 of Danmachi 3, but I started Sword Oratoria, went through the first 2 episodes, and I watched BNA's first 5 episodes all in one day, all in one evening. Let's get it, boys and girls. There you go. Folks, you wouldn't believe me. You wouldn't believe how much happened in this episode. Oh my lord. Oh, we're gonna have to have such a big conversation about things. Before we do, let's talk about Sword Oratoria, the anime, for a minute. So, I'm not gonna tell y'all like every single thing about the episodes or whatnot. I'm not gonna do a proper review on Sword Oratoria. But instead, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to share every so often some interesting quips that I learned from Sword Oratoria that weren't mentioned in the game. Either that or just my reactions to some of the things. But besides that, let me give my quick review on Sword Oratoria. Episodes 1 and 2, either what I thought of them or what I learned. All this is mostly from episode 1. But anyway, let us begin. So, I learned about... I only have like 4 sticky notes for this. I learned that that at the beginning of Sword Oratoria, that expedition that they went on to the 50th floor, where they were planning on going to the 59th or 60th, they didn't know, I didn't know at least, that was Lafia's first interactions with Tion, Tiona, Aes, and etc. I didn't know that. Apparently, and it might have just like went over my head, because I'm pretty sure they mentioned it like a ton, but that went over my head completely. That went over my head completely, because, because why? I'm trying to think. Because, didn't know that was Lufia's first interaction. Yeah, I didn't know that, because I just assumed that she was already part of the group. But yeah, those were her first interactions with everybody. And that's why she was so, like, fidgety and shy and all this kind of stuff. So that was very interesting to see. That was very interesting to learn, I should say. Another thing that I'm going to mention right now that I didn't write on the notes is that, so you know how we have, Sword Oratoria, Lafia side, and Sword Oratoria, just Aes. I was full on expecting that we would just hear from Aes in Sword Oratoria, because obviously, like, yeah, it's great that, there's Sword Oratoria, Lafia side, and Sword Oratoria, Aes, but thing is that I thought that we'd just focus on the Aes portion of Sword Oratoria, just just Aes's thoughts, Aes is this, Aes is that. But apparently, what I have come to learn and love to have learned is that they melded both episodes. They, in Sword of Ratoria, the anime, the stories of both Aes and Lafia are intertwined into Sword of Ratoria. And so, that's actually, I mean, I'm pretty sure most people knew that, I feel like. It's just, I didn't. But I think that's cool that they combined their stories in the show, in the original anime, and then they separated it with a fine line in this game. So I find that very, very cool. And I really enjoyed seeing both sides of the story. What scene scene after another. I like that so much. Besides that, though, the other sticky note that I wanted to say, didn't know that. Oh yeah, so this is actually a very interesting one. So I didn't know that Bet had boots that were or are somehow compatible with Aes's winds, which can give him extra boost. I didn't know that. I saw Bell running, or not Bell running, Bet and Aes running alongside each other, and Bet's like, Aes, give me some air, and then freaking Aes with her freaking oh god, I already forgot her power. The Tempest just swung over some Tempest winds at Bet's boots, which apparently have like a small emerald ingrained to one of them, which picks up that signal. I don't know. Very interesting. Just didn't know that. This is very, very interesting thing. Oh, also, it seems. Oh no, I thought I had. Second, I thought I only had 3 sticky notes, but the other 2 were just stuck together. The other thing that I want to mention is it was amazing to see Loki Familia. They were awesome, and I was in awe and stuck to my seat, dude. Like I mean, we've always heard that you know Loki Familia, strongest Familia, best Familia, but oh my god, like seeing them fight in game, it's just like fwa fwa fwa. Like you can't really do too much, you know what I mean? You can't really show too much in a visual novel, fighting wise. Like anime fighting wise, but when I watched them actually fight in the anime, I was like, what the? They're so cool. Ace is so fast, and Tion and Tiona. It was just so good. It was so great to see them all come to life for me, because I'd already seen, Belle. Of course, I'd seen Ace and Lafia and Tion and Tiona and Finn and Riveria, and the whole Loki family a few times just come to life. But I got to see them really come to life in Sword of Ratoria, because obviously that's their show. But it's like, it was just so cool. It was so, so cool. They were all so funny. And we got to see Raul. I got to see Raul. And I'm like, dude, that's Raul. I know him. And then I also saw Line, and I'm like, oh, I know Line. And then it was just so cool. And I also saw Aki. It was so cool, man. It was just so freaking cool. I loved it so much. And if you're wondering if I cried like I did when I first watched the original anime, the Is There One Shot of Power Girls in a Dungeon Season 1, after finishing the main story for like 100 episodes, if you're wondering if I cried at some point, I did. And that's my next thing and my last thing that I wanted to talk about. So, at the end of the episode, when like they're leaving when they're close to leaving the dungeon, and they encounter the God, what is it? And they encounter the Minotaurs on the 17th floor. When they encountered the Minotaurs on the 17th floor, and then the Minotaurs go up to the upper floors, and they chase after them. I realized, I'm like, oh, this is the part where Aes saves Belle. This is the part where they're gonna meet. And when I saw Aes and Bet running after them, and then I saw them in those familiar looking caves, and then Aes and Bet split off, and then Ace went one way and followed the Minotaur, and then the Minotaur headed straight for Belle. Dude, that whole scene, I was just crying because I knew what was gonna happen next, and what happened next, I could not stop crying because I'm like, oh my god. Like, when they looked at each other, I'm like, oh my god, these two people. It's been so long since I've seen this scene, and it's like, I remember so long ago when I saw this scene and I knew nothing about these characters, and now I know about everything. Not everything, but, you know, quite a bit, and it's like, look at these two characters. They never met each other before, they don't know each other, but they're the two most important people in the whole show, and they've just met for the first time. And I'm like, I just started bawling out, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool. No, but yeah, I mean, y'all know me. Y'all know my love for this anime. Anyway, that's sort of Ratoria. Quips so far, but let's talk about Episode 2 of Danmachi Season 3. I used up an entire notepad, of sticky notes. I went into real depth with this one. I had to actually stop the video and, you know, turn on my light and do a bunch of stuff. I had to unpause, rewind the episode a lot, so I didn't get to see it, like, fully. I think what I'm going to do after this episode is I'm going to rewatch episodes 1 and 2 of Season 3 so I can really get that thrill again. Because, again, I just paused and unpaused in that second episode. But, oh my god, so much stuff happened in this episode. Season 3 is getting really good. It's shaping up to be a very interesting season with what it's doing. And you're gonna understand why. So, folks, as per usual, let's talk. So, episode starts off in a warehouse full of cages with monsters, where the monsterphilia-looking setter-upper guy, who's, I think, the villain of the whole season, talks to his partners in crime about how pissed off he is about... Now, hold on. I'm gonna have to... a lot of sticky notes, so let me just... One by one... How pissed off he is about them failing to recapture Ween. The hunters or partners he talks to are apparently from the start of the prior episode, aka same hunters. So that's something that I thought was really interesting. I think it was really interesting that we got recurring characters in people that were just fleeting, like we saw for just fleeting moments. Chasing after Ween. I'm glad that they were returning, that they're sort of a part of the main villains of this season, that they weren't just there for, like, a random reason. I really like that. The other thing that I learned is that the monsterphilia looking guy, his name is Dix, folks. His name is Dix, spelled D-I-X. I'm not gonna call, I just called him Dix, but I'm not gonna call him Dix. I'm gonna call him Dix, because Dix is French for 10, and it's spelled D-I-X, so I'm gonna call him Dix. Right? It's Dix, right? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, Dix. So his name is Dix. So that's something. Dix talks about... Again, I really went into depth with these notes. Dix talks about possibly wanting to sell Ween. That he had wanted to sell Ween to some nobles from Illyria, which just I wonder what that is. It seems like a huge kingdom place, but we don't know. I'm just any like title drop for like any name drop for like a kingdom or another country, just anything interesting that has an outside effect on Aurario, or like anything that's that's a place out of Aurario that's mentioned and that we don't know about interests me instantly. I'm like freaking Veritane. That interests the hell out of me. And we saw it. That was really fun. Anyway, so talks about Illyria, that he was probably going to sell Ween to Illyria and could have gotten a lot of money from it. Mention of Monster Lair, which they're trying to find, I believe, and mention of that, and Colossal Tree Labyrinth, which we're gonna get to a bit later, a bit later on about. Also, let me give y'all a cool looking background for this episode, so you just don't have to stare at Aurario. Who should we have our eyes set on? Let's have our eyes set on the good old Belster. The good old Crenelster, folks. Let's choose the Laveria one, because you'll hear why. And then they also mentioned Laveria. So, yeah. After the meeting, after that little meeting, I think the hunters go to Laveria. Oh yeah, so I think Dees tasks his hunter boys to go back to Laveria to find out information about, like if they saw anything about Ween or whatever, and so that's what happens. They leave off, and then the Subaru-looking guy, or Dees, then talks to the Subaru-looking guy who's sitting on these steps in like a shadow and whatnot. And apparently the Subaru-looking guy is their god, who, believe it or not, folks, is Akelos. Oh my gosh. Isn't that awesome? Oh, it's so cool. And their little conversation starts off with Dees asking Akelos to see if he can investigate who's hiding Ween from them. Or from them for them. And then Akelos is like, sure, I guess I have no choice. I'm bored. I need to be entertained, right? And then he goes off. And then the epic outro turns into epic intro. So of course, like last season, the outro for the first episode and ended up becoming the intro for the rest of the season, and that's what happened in this episode. That the epic outro from the first episode became the intro for the season, and yeah. Also a quick mention, because I didn't add in my notes, but the outro for the episode... Actually, no. We'll get to that later. Because I remember how it is anyway. So, continuing, after the outro, and I just want to mention one more thing. The reason, so again, I went really into depth with these notes, that like the first 13 minutes of the episode have like a million notes. Whereas like the last 13 I tried to keep it short. So yeah, anyway. After the intro, we're greeted to the Hearth Mansion, to the good old Belle Crenel Astia Familia Mansion, and there's a meeting. And that meeting is about how they didn't find anything yesterday and whatnot. And during that scene, Ween is seen attached to Makoto, so that's pretty interesting. Development, folks, on Ween's side. And then during the meeting, Lily mentions during said meeting, if we're found out, our familia standing would be endangered. And so I thought that was, again, just another thing that Lily says that just solidifies, or not solidifies, but asks the same questions, or um, asks questions that could possibly lead to my theory of everyone's gonna hate Hestia Familia because they're keeping a monster safe. And so I thought, I'm loving Lily this season with her intelligence. I mean, she's always been smart, but oh my gosh, Lily, it's like you want my theory to work. It's like you heard my theory and heard my prayers. Jesus. All right. Anyway, from that, Hestia tasks the Familia being only 3 people, because they needed people to stay at the mansion, to investigate in the dungeon secretly, and when she does that, Ween asks Bell if he is leaving, and he says, "I'll be back soon." So that's, yeah. So the 3 adventurers. Let me just go ahead and yeah. All right. So the 3 adventurers that are sent on this mission are Belle, Lily, and Welf, of course, the OG trio, and go to the hostess of fertility. Oh my god. Oh man, see, this is where the episode just goes crazy. Like, everything in this episode, every scene in this episode is so great. I just had to write a million notes on everything. So they go to hostess of fertility to ask Ryu. That's right, Ryu, folks. Oh my god, Ryu, if she wants to go with them. If she wants to go with them to investigate in Latveria. Of course, Ryu doesn't know why, but in result of them asking her, she's about to decline when suddenly Aisha steps in and asks how Haruhime is doing. Now, you gotta understand. So the scene is, right, imagine Seer and Ryu standing in front of the hostess of fertility, or they're at the front of hostess of fertility. Belle, Welf, and Lily are facing them, and then Aisha just comes in from the right, and she's like, "Oh, what's up? How's Haruhime?" And she's getting like all close up into Belle and whatnot, and yeah. Well, that just imagine that scene, and now we continue. Seer is surprised by Aisha, and Aisha hears that the 3 need an escort to Latveria, and she accepts, which I thought was interesting. I thought it was interesting, all in all, that we got to see Aisha. I mean, we saw her in the intro, but a window. We got some other people looking from other windows. Because Hermes and Achilles were like sitting on a bench in like an empty alleyway, but like an open empty alleyway, if that makes sense. And so it was really fun to see that. But anyway, now that was the last sticky note. From the. So I just finished reading off the last yellow sticky note, and now we're gonna go on to the other sticky notes which aren't yellow, because for the previous thing, all of the sticky notes were orange, but then I decided to make everything yellow for the next one, and I ran out, so I just had to use orange and pink at the end. Anyway, so after this, Haruhime is playing hide and seek with Ween in the backyard, and then into the mansion. Ween, hides in this room, in one of the rooms, and I think in Belle's room, and Ween is and I have this in the notes. Hold on. Ween then starts. Wait, hold up. I can't see this very well because it's. Let me get under my lamp. Ween smells Belle's scent and is very attracted to the scent. Yeah, like she goes in his bed and smells all his blankets, and she's just being a child. And then in the room next to Belle's, she overhears a conversation between Hestia, Lily, Mikoto, and Welf. Keep that in mind as I read the next few slides. Hestia learns learns info of other monsters like Ween, plus Haru and Lily also hear that. Hold on. And now we have moved over to the pink sticky notes. Then, hold on. Then Lily believes. Okay, so this is another one of the scenes that's like, what the heck? Lily then says that she believes they should stop sheltering Ween. And Ween hears them, obviously. Ween hears them. And Makoto is surprised by what Lily says. Lily then talks about letting Ween out of Arario, and if they don't, people will find out, and they will be and their familia will be despised. She believes Belle can't make the final decision, that they must do instead. And I'm like, oh my god. Again, mentioning that they will be despised, that they would be despised, that, all that, and it's just like, oh, Lily, you're so great. It was a surprising scene, but still great. I mean, oh my god, you're so cool, Lily. The next thing after that, of course, like I said a million times over, Ween overhears them and runs away into the streets and cries out for Belle. And I'm like, oh no, she's gonna get kidnapped by a Kelos familia or something. But then, the instant she runs off, everyone starts looking for her. For her plus Belle, and she sees a box. Okay, so everyone starts looking for her, and then she imagines that she's in the streets, and as she's running, she notices this girl across the street who's standing right next to this cart that has like 5 heavy boxes, like 5 heavy crates, and she sees that the rope holding up the top crate is about to fall on the little girl, and so she goes and saves her by spreading her one wing. So I thought it was 2 wings, but after I saw the episode title, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. So she only has 1 wing. So that means Ween either has developed her second wing, or one of her wings has been torn off. Jesus. By spreading her wings in public, in front of people. and all the people are surprised and scared. Even the little girl that she saves is scared, and she's just there, like, crying, and she's sad. People start pelting rocks at her, and she cries. And it's like, it's so sad because I'm like, where's Belle? Where's Lily? Where's Welf? Where's anyone to save her? And I'm like, I don't think anyone's gonna save her. But then is saved by Belle, and I write that she's saved by Belle because I see Belle in the crowd trying to get through the crowd to Ween, but then I write, no, by Lily. She's saved by Lily in her elf form. And so that was really cool. Which apparently Welf and Makoto noticed for like the first time, so that's even more interesting. And so Lily saves Ween, Belle, Welf, and Makoto follow after them, and they run back. So, like, they're running through the streets now with Ween, with the monster, and everyone's low-key about to start chasing them. When, like, right before they're about to run, Lily's like, Belle, let's run back to the hideout or something. And he's like, all right. And I'm like, what's the hideout? She didn't call it the hideout, but she called it something like that. And then they're running back, and then the next scene pans down to the ruins. And I'm like, no. And then I'm like, and they run back to the ruins of the church? And I'm like, holy I'm like, dude, I never thought we'd go back to the church, especially the basement. So anyway, also, they run back to the church where the vulture is, ? And then they're all sitting in the basement at the church. Ween cries into Belle's arms and asks if it's bad for them to be together as she's crying. And Belle doesn't respond. And then Ween cries louder. And Belle clenches his fist. And then we move, and then the episode ends with Fells standing on top of a roof. We see Fells out in public, with his vulture. I didn't know that it was his vulture, but yeah, it's his vulture. And asking what Uranus will do now. And then a new popping outro. So, let me talk about the outro for a second. The outro, I thought was very interesting and very cool at the same time, because it showed Hestia at the beginning. And then throughout, it showed, like, the different familias, like, all the different familias, like Hermes, Ganesha familia, Loki familia, I think even Dionysus, like, all of the familias. And I'm like, dude, that's super cool. They're showing all the familias in the outro. And, you know, it's just, like, Hestia and her familia, like, reuniting or something at the end. But it's cool because we get to see all the familias in, like, one scene. I mean, they're not moving or anything, but they're just there. And I'm like, dude, that's so cool. I never thought we'd get something like that. Even, like, we even got a shot of Freya Familia, and I'm like, dude, that's so cool. I never expected them to do that. And it's a really cool outro. I mean, the music from... The music, as always, as usual, is just a real bop, folks. I mean, it's just a real bop and a half. But yeah, with that, folks, I have wasted 152 probably sticky notes and have made my mom mad, but not really because she understands, but no, really because she wants me to use a notebook next time. So, probably gonna make a whole notebook out of reviews. So that's gonna be fun. But yeah, that's episode 2. One Wing. And of course, as always, after the credits, or not after the credits, But after the outro, we get the title card for the next episode, which is Xenos Outliers. Very interesting. I have no theories. But what I can say, what an episode. There was a oh my, there's so much. We got to see a sneak peek of the Valkyrie monster girl. We got a lot of mentions of Fells. Bell and Welf heard about Fells for the first time, like just the name. We saw Fells a bunch. We saw the Vulture like twice. Mentions of Ivalis. We saw Seer blushing because of what Rue said. We saw Rue and Aisha have an argument and, get to know each other. They were escorts. In the dungeon, we saw a cool, a nice-looking restaurant in Lavaria. We learned that the forest is called the Colossal Tree Labyrinth. We learned what Akelos looks like. We learned the name of the trainer boy, which is Dees. We learned that the hunters are, the same hunters from the first episode. So far, this season is very tightly knit, and I love that. And then Ween's sad. Belle doesn't respond to Ween's question of, is it bad that we're together and all that kind of stuff. And so much stuff happened in this episode. It's insane. Folks, we're just getting started. Oh, I'm caught up now. Oh, this is so cool. I love that I get to review episodes again. Oh, I'm so happy. Folks, y'all make me so happy. I'm so glad that whoever's watching this hopefully genuinely enjoys my content. What a day. What an episode. What a year. We have, I believe, I'm hoping at least, another 10 episodes. Very excited. But sadly, that's all I got for y'all today. Tomorrow, we won't be reviewing an episode, which I'm very sad about. I wish we could, but no. I need a break from reviewing. And plus, there's no new episode, so... I'll see y'all guys next Friday to review episode 3. But, before that, tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, I have a lot of homework to do. I have tons of homework to do. Like, an insane amount of homework to do. But I'm going to pull through. Folks, I'm going to pull through for y'all, for the homies. And, we're going to do the entirety of New Generation Pop Stars again. But before we end off the episode, let's go ahead, check out the side story. And, let's see what's up. After coming back from the dungeon, Ryu parted with Belle and his party and returned... Oh, okay. So it's just a fertility. We're going to see what she thought. Yeah, you really should. Couldn't have just left him. Midday. Who's she talking to? Who's the ma'am? Ha! Oiv. Your taste buds. Your expectations will be satisfied, Aisha. Trust me. Ryu, don't worry. Kaguya, this is so cool. Guys, this is so cool. Why is this so cool? Why does everything have to be connected? The fact that... Guys, this is another great episode of Memoria Freese where not only Ivalice is mentioned, not only is Fells seen a bunch of times, not only does Lily mention that, you know, the Familia is endangered and whatnot, possibly. But we get a reference from the Estrella record. This is such a good... Oh my god. I'm having too much fun. Kaguya and Lyra. Jesus. Feels like a century ago since I heard those names. Damn. Oh, I don't have auto on. Is that right? What are you implying? Huh. Oh, is that right, Aisha? Is that right? Dodging the question, Ru? Oh, dude, I want to know that. Amazon was not ready to let go of Ryu just yet. Oy vey. I want to know this, but the fact that this music is playing, it means that it's gonna really get annoying. Nope. Oy vey. Yeah. Though as much as I'd like to know. Pog. Aisha, come on. Yeah. Oh? 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 Wait, what? Wait, Ryu's blushing. Wait. Yeah, I did not expect that. Wait. Oh my gosh. Aisha cracked her. Aisha's cracked her. Oh. Unfortunately, the elf had to keep sending her time being harassed by the Amazon. Gotta love it. Alright, well, the next one is something that we will see in the next 5 days. I wonder why there's only 4, though. Why there's only 4 side stories. I'm sure that we'll get more as time goes on, but anyway. It's awesome. Alright, well, we've had a good time. This episode and last episode, two of the greatest episodes of the series. The next few episodes, folks, it's just going to be straight. We're going to have some straight good episodes. We're going to have some we're going to have greatest episodes in a row for the next, like, 10, 20, 30 episodes. So, get ready. Get ready. It's episode 900. No, it's episode 892. I believe this is. Which means. Or 93. Which means in 7 days. Please let it be on a weekday. Or on a weekend. We will have episode 900. Which will be stupidly long. And probably based on Halloween stuff. But anyway. Until tomorrow, folks, this has been me reviewing Season 3, Episode 2, once again. I'll see y'all Friday to review the next one, but in the meantime, enjoy the entirety of New Generation Pop Stars in the next episode. I suggest that you get yourself some water and all that. I know that I don't say that very often, but I kind of do at the same time. But yeah. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and sayo fucking Nara, folks. Truly. Alright. Is there anything else? I just want to make sure that there's nothing else that I want to say. Actually, you know what? I'll end off the episode, but not really. And what I mean by that is that I'm gonna end off this episode by taking my computer downstairs. So then I can just, do stuff. Hold on. What can I do to get y'all to keep on watching this episode for like an extra 2 minutes? Let me think. Okay. I think I got it, folks. I think I got it. So, it's gonna be a bit tricky. Let me open the door of my room. And then let me put on my headphones again. Okay, now let me talk. So, assuming you can still hear me, assuming that y'all can still hear me, assuming that this plate isn't gonna fall. Whew, okay. What was I gonna say? I can't even think about what I was gonna say. No, yeah, the next few episodes are gonna be very, very long. Very, very excited. There's lots to do. Lots to see. And the upcoming episodes of Memoria Freeze. What else, man? What else do I want to say? Oh, I almost just killed my computer. My brand new computer at that. Okay, hold on. Alright, I'm back. What's here? Let me throw this out. Throw this out. No, but yeah, the next 2 episodes are gonna be very long. I'm very excited. And I hope y'all are too. Honestly, getting back into Season 3 has got me very excited about Memoria Freese once again. It's so great. It's so great to have fallen in love with such a great anime, like, out of nowhere. Out of nowhere, and then just stuck to it for so long. It's so cool, guys. It's so cool. It's so cool. It might just be cooler than my school. Alright. Anyway. I'm down here now. I've set up everything. I'm ready to rewatch episodes 1 and 2 of season 3. But anyway, until tomorrow, folks, I'm gonna watch stuff. Just have a good time. And yeah, I'll see you in the next episode. Arigatou gozaimasu for watching. And Sayo flippin' Nara.